What is up, you combat night loving jive turkeys? All right, before we even get going, I want you guys to jump into the comments and let me know that you can hear us. Sometimes things don't sound the same for you guys out there as it does to us here in the building. So I see a few of you are on, so just jump into comments for me real quick and let me know that you can hear us before we start going.
Yeah, guys, we're trying to perfect this thing over here before we start bringing guests on and, getting some really cool stories that we might not capture the audio on or we mess up something. So,
What up, Jules Joseph? We appreciate you loud and clear. You say so. We gonna get this party started. All right, so we wanted to jump on the little combat night pre-show for Orlando, our first event of the year. We wanted to talk about some of the fights we have coming up on this card, and so it's me, Ramsey White, and CEO Mitchell Chamali here at Combat Night headquarters in
yes, sir.
Castleberry, Florida. Talking about the show that we have coming up this weekend. We're excited to get the year started, and this first card is got some hitters on it.
Yeah, our first three cards of the year, between Tallahassee, Orlando, and Fort Lauderdale, they might end up taking the cake for the best events of the year. I mean, they're really that good. And whenever people see these cards and the people that are fighting, they'll realize it as well, especially the people in the venue to, Saturday night.
Heck yeah.
Just want to remind everybody
Oh yeah.
we have a silver plaque.
Oh yeah. You know, we had some weeks off, and we didn't spend too much time up here like finalizing our set. But that's going up somewhere
But it's going to be in plastic until it does.
until it does. Yeah,
We're
we
not
need to
trying to
get-
mess it up.
And they made them smaller on us. So of course we finally get in the club and
Not the OG club. We're
not
in
the OG club. Then people are gonna know. They can see that little teeny thing in the
Oh,
back.
you're-
Like, oh yeah, good for you. Well, all right. So we got a bunch of kickboxing and MMA bouts and some extreme Muay Thai. I haven't seen it just kind of like presented in that way before. That's advanced Muay Thai.
That is
Extreme advanced.
Extreme Muay Thai is with the small gloves,
Ah,
the small MMA gloves. Advanced would be the elbows, but you can't do extreme advanced. So you have to either choose small gloves, no elbows, or big gloves, elbows.
where's that rule set? Like,
Uh,
where are we getting that from?
So what it really comes down to is it comes down to almost being a gentleman's agreement for the small glove fight. And what I mean by that is that they agree not to grapple. They're going to come in there to bang. That's the rule set they're going by. So they're going by an MMA rule set, but they're not grappling. And then for the Muay Thai, obviously they changed the rule about 2 years ago that you could add elbows, and they're just choosing to add the elbows. But the reason we don't allow elbows in MMA, so when they wear the small gloves, they can't do elbows.
I like the small gloves Muay Thai.
I like it. It keeps it a little more exciting. It's guys can't block as well. They have to get used to those new little small gloves. Change it up a bit. So I'm really excited for that fight. Actually, there's two Muay Thai fights on this card that I am um, over the moon about. I mean, they're big deals in my opinion. You want to go ahead and jump right into it?
Let me say one more thing before we
Okay.
fully get started, and that is over the last like 5 or 6 weeks, while we've been on a hiatus, the wrestling season has been in full swing, and I have been so pleased at the no. I've probably been to 5 tournaments since our last show of last year, and I've seen a combat night fighter at almost every single tournament, whether it's a pro or an amateur. I think that's really cool to see these guys out in the mix, like helping coach and corner. And the last tournament I went to with my daughter, I saw Amin Swabi and David Angel.
Oh, I wouldn't have expected a mean Swabby
Yes, and
He's-
they were both.
or David Angel. They're both more strikers.
Mhm.
Interesting.
But they were both out there helping coach. I don't know if it was a little sister or something like that, but
Okay. Smart.
they were
Making sure.
they were right down there on the mats, coaching her up. It was really cool.
That's really dope. Yeah. I mean, I know. Speaking of David Angel, he's making his MMA debut after a
Mhm.
lot of kickboxing Muay Thai fights. And then Amin Swabi is the extreme Muay Thai guy, so he's doing the small gloves. That's it. Yeah, those are two fights I'm really excited about. Um, yeah, I thought it was really cool too that I've been to a couple wrestling things now as well, and it's really cool to have like these high school kids walk up to me and say, "Are you with Combat Night, right? Oh, you do the
You're the
Combat Night
combat
thing?"
night guy.
it's like, oh man, it's cool. It's like just to know that the younger generation is watching and that they're aspiring to become fighters when they're done, wrestling in high school. It's been really cool watching your daughter like come up too and seeing her wanting to grow so much. Um, so we might have our very first really, really homebred combat night fighter here soon.
Straight from the camera stand to the cage.
Yeah.
Oh, and shout out to the merch because somebody came up and they were like, "I knew you were with Combat Night. I thought I recognized you. But I saw those socks." And I was like, "Yeah, that's the."
That's
So
funny.
merch doing his job out there.
Yes.
All right, so let's talk about this card that we have this weekend. I mean, we can just you have that list pulled up.
Yeah.
Why don't you lead it? Because I think maybe some of them might have
One that I'm looking forward to the Machida brothers fighting.
right.
That to me, guys,
Talk about that.
it like warms my heart. You don't understand. Like I was literally such a fan of Machida coming up in this sport. He was like a true martial artist to me, and for years I envied this guy. He did he did an interview one time where he talked about drinking his own pee, and I was like, that's crazy. I can't believe that. But then I saw it a couple more times. Like this guy really drinks his own pee. That's crazy, but all right. I still like this guy. I had to try out for the Ultimate Fighter, and they gave me I had like a minute and a half video I had to do. They gave me a little like list of things I had to do. So in my minute and a half video, I had a magazine propped up, and it had Lyoto Machida on the magazine. Like his it was an interview where he talked about peeing and drinking it, and I'm acting like I'm peeing in a cup, and then I drink my own pee. Well, it's not really my pee. I mean, maybe it is, but as like a hats off to tip of the hat to old Machida. But to have his kids fighting for us, that's just insane to me. I have watched them kind of grow up in the gym too, because Machida's now been the same gym I'm at for like a few years now, and it's crazy to see. They came in as like little kids, and they've progressed and started sparring with the adults and stuff, and I knew it wasn't going to be hard to find them. It was not going to be hard to find them a fight. If I'm being honest, I knew we got some savages when it comes to kickboxing and Muay Thai, especially when we talk about Bobby Dixon's camp. The guys over at AMAA, I don't know if they've ever said no to a fight. In fact, I think they've said before, are you sure that guy wants to fight us? These are the type of kickboxers and Muay Thai fighters that come out of AMAA. Eric Gianni over there and Bobby, they're right next to Paul Rodriguez's school, and they've done a good job at kind of coexisting. It's crazy. You have two martial arts schools right next to each other over there in East Orlando. Maybe it's not East Orlando, just Orlando. I'm not going to get too technical. And they've bred some amazing fighters out of there. I mean, Paul Rodriguez is an OG. Eric Gianni is a student under Paul. He does jujitsu under Paul. So they've coexisted, but it's two big gyms right next to one another, like successful gyms. But anyways, and those are the opponents for the Machida kids. You got Kaito and Tayo Machida, and Tayo is fighting Jordan Thompson, and Kaito is fighting Isaac Morales. Both of these fights are at 145. Man, I'm telling you, expect fireworks on this fight. These fights, they're teenagers, but they're going to come in there and they're going to be slinging them. I know both of these guys have come from very reputable camps. I know both of these guys are coming there to put the hurt on. I mean, you think about the David Angel and his brothers, that little crew, Christian Angel, all those guys. It's like, yo, those kids are savages, man. They are, and that's coming from that AMAA school. So, and I know I've watched Machida's kids come up and be savages. So, I'm really excited for those two fights. That would be the first two that jump off the list to me, because again, I've just got to me it's like a fanboy moment. I'm gonna have Machida's kids make their debut, not just fight. They're making their debut on Combat Night. It's really cool. I mean,
I think that's cool too. We've had some like former UFC fighters and stuff, kids fight for us before. I think and Kimbo's son fought for us before, right?
Mm-mm.
Where did I see him at?
Bellator. Did he fight for? I don't think Kimbo's son fought for us. Baby Slice.
I thought like as an amateur.
Mm-mm. Maybe he did. If I feel really bad if he did.
If not, I'll feel bad for thinking that. I don't know why I was under that impression if he didn't.
Yeah, I mean, we'll take credit, Baby Slice. I mean, we've had I'm sure we've had other people. I've had situations where like my buddy's wife grappled for us, and he was in the UFC, and like, we've always had a lot of UFC fighters at our events. Bigfoot Silva's daughter and Ribeiro.
But this one is different.
Yeah, this one's just a little bit different because one, he's always been like someone I've looked up to in the sport. That's the biggest thing for me is he's just an idol for me in the sport. And then two, it's like world champion. I mean, yo, who doesn't love Machida?
Yeah.
He's an amazing dude. So, and his kids are mad cool, man. They're great kids. So, I'm excited for the fight.
It's cool that you get to train with Machida at, like, I remember the first time I just crossed his path was like at a karate combat or something. His dad was there and I just saw him from
Yeah.
afar. But then I was lifting at Fusion and he just came like strolling in and it was just like,
Yeah,
oh snap.
with his little suitcase.
Uh-huh. And I get like, I forget like how big of a man I am.
Mhm.
And I always view these people as being like really big. And then whenever I saw him, I was like, oh my gosh, he's just not that big.
Yeah. And he probably walks lighter now than when he fought. I mean, I think it looks like he walks around at like 200 pounds now. And I think he fought as heavy as he fought heavyweight before. Him and BJ Penn fought each other at heavyweight. Isn't that crazy? BJ Penn,
Yeah, it's crazy.
55 world champion, and okay, another fight I'm excited for because this guy always comes and throws down is Brock Waldy. Brock Waldy, anytime he fights for us, he's leaving it all in the cage, and it's never a bad show. Anytime if Brock Waldy is in the equation, it's exciting. It's fireworks. It's nonstop. It also helps that he's fighting a guy out of the jungle. I have not seen. I don't know much about Antonio Ramos, but I know the jungle has a great kickboxing Muay Thai program, and I know that they build guys up the right way. They're not just letting them take fights off the rip. They put them in the PKB. Shout out to Rich Grindle. If you're looking to take a fight, you're thinking about taking a fight, you want some a little more experience, maybe you have 1 or 2 amateur fights, go sign up for the PKB. It makes absolutely no sense not to do it. You'll go do Naga, you'll do super fights and grappling, but then you skip out on the PKB. Like, it makes no sense to me. I wish more guys took advantage of the PKB. It is such a valuable tool of experience. You finally get to feel what it feels like to fight someone who doesn't have any best interest in mind for you. They want to win. That's their only interest they have is winning. It's not your teammate who's going to take it easy on you if he hits you to the body. PKB is no knockouts, but, people get a little squirrely sometimes, and you might get to feel what it feels, a real shot. And you need to know what that's like before you step into the Combatagon and you got the bright lights on you.
I couldn't find, when I was just researching some of the guys, I couldn't find anything on Antonio Ramos.
I believe it's his debut.
Yeah. Brock Waldy's got a handful of fights. Fought with us several times, a bunch of times last year. Yeah, and like you said, it's an exciting guy to watch. There was a quick question from the comments about the teenager rule set for kickboxing. Are there different rules?
I don't believe there's any major differences in the rules. Kickboxing is already pretty strict as it is, but I don't know timing because the time is already 2 minutes when it comes to adults, so it's not less time. There's no elbows anyways. There's no knees anyway.
Yeah,
Well,
it's not like it's no punching or kicking to the head. Or
yeah, no, it's nothing crazy. I will say the referees are a little more apt to stop a fight, and I like that. Just like with kids jujitsu, you see a kid with a full on armbar, and they're like or they're just like their arm is about to break. The ref will stop it. We don't wait for a tap because they're kids. Same thing with teenage fighters. If someone's getting dolly whopped, we might stop it a little quicker than if it was adults. Not might, they will. I mean that is the protocol for sure. We talked about it earlier, but Amin Swabi and Eddie Diaz, sheesh, with small gloves.
Yeah.
Listen,
We know Eddie Diaz will be doing it for Rome.
yes, for the Legion.
For the Legion.
This is the ninth. This is the one. This is like the 8th fight of the night, guys, or maybe it's the 7th, 6th. We're on the 6th fight, 7th fight of the night is Amin Swabi versus Eddie Diaz. We could just call that. We could make that the main event on a bunch of other cards. That fight is literally going to be amazing, guys. Amin Swabi, no love. I love the whole AMAA squad is very much like that. They're like, I ain't shaking your hand. I'm here to fight you. Eddie Diaz, kind of the same. He's not really smiling at weigh-ins. He's like pretty serious. Comes to put in work, and they got small gloves, both of them for the first time. Man, the jungle, AMAA. That's gonna be a banger. I'm telling you right now, that could potentially end up being the fight of the night, in my opinion. But as we go on, there's right above them is David Angel versus Clayton Hurley. Clayton Hurley has been highly touted. He's not fought. He's supposed to fight a couple times. Opponents pull out. He gets injured. Different things happen, and Everyone. He used to train at David Sutton's gym down south with Luis Perez, the biggest mouth in the South, and he's probably on YouTube right now, trolling people. Um, and he says Clayton's really good. And then Dark Wolf has, they speak very highly of him. I mean, they've taken a fight against David Angel, who's got like 10 kickboxing fights. It's his MMA debut, but he's got a lot of fight experience. So I'm real interested to see how that one goes.
And he's a dog.
Mm-hmm.
Slugs it out.
Yeah, he knows he'll come. He's exactly that Angel family, man. They come to bang.
So whenever you see a kickboxer, predominantly a kickboxer, switch over to MMA, then we're gonna get to see a different side of their game that we never had a chance to see before.
Maybe.
Yeah, unless they stand in slang.
There's plenty of kickboxers who jump over to MMA thinking they want to do MMA, and they're like, "Oh my God, my legs! They took them away from me.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm on the ground." I think David Angel's doing it right. I'd be surprised if Eric put him in an MMA fight if he hadn't been working on his wrestling a lot and working on his jiu-jitsu. I have been over that way before and trained with those guys, and he was doing some groundwork.
Dark Wolf?
No, David Angel.
Oh, okay.
So he's not just primary. That might be his primary art is kickboxing and striking, but he's been working on his jiu-jitsu as well.
As you should.
Yes, if you want to do MMA, do not be silly. Jump the gilly. And then right after that fight, now we're on the ninth fight of the night. We got Katie Santana coming up from the Goat Shed in Miami to fight Christian Jackman. Jack 'em up, Jackman. That fight, both these girls got knockouts on their records. They're 115-pounders. You don't often get knockouts at 115 pounds, but both these girls be knocking people out. So I think fireworks again, and I think that the winner could potentially be in line to get a title shot soon. So Jackman's on a 2-fight win streak. Katie is 1-1 right now.
Is that 2 fights in MMA win streak?
MMA. Yeah, she's on a bigger win streak in total with her kickboxing. But in MMA, I'm excited for that fight. Again, 2 great camps. Jackman's pace is always crazy. Santana has a great pace too. I think it's going to be who can impose their will in the beginning of the fight. I think the first round's going to tell us a lot about how that fight's going to go.
Yeah, that should be exciting because we've seen Jackman beat the soul out of people.
Oh, yeah. And they both train with UFC fighters. One of Katie's main partners is Jillian Robertson, and a girl that Christian's worked with, I'm sure, is over there, Phenom. I wouldn't be surprised if both these girls come in there and put on a really good show for the fans. I also wouldn't be surprised if someone got knocked out because both these girls come in there to sling.
Next, yeah, that's the one that I didn't have. I put my list of information on one doc, and then
What you got on Tyler Connaught versus Lance Lopez? Both of these guys are dogs. Both these guys are really tough. Tyler Connaught, he fought for us in St. Pete, I believe, on June 22nd last year. I get a lot of messages about Tyler too. It's so funny. Some guys, I post their fight poster, I post a story about them, or I post a reel or whatever, and I just start getting random people messaging the Comment Night account. I'm not always checking it. I have admins to check it too, but if I'm fucking around, I'll check. And I'm seeing these, and I was like, "Why are you telling me that this guy's the truth? Your next champ." But it happens for multiple people. It's not just hasn't happened just for Tyler. It'll happen for like Eric Smiley out of David Sutton's. Eric Jones was in the running for comeback of the year for this last year. His fight against Pete Garcia. People message me about that guy too, talking about how great he is, how awesome he is. But I always find it interesting whenever people randomly say things like that to me, because it ends up being the fighter ends up being pretty good. Like no one's telling me that, and then the fighter goes out there and sucks. So and then Lance Lopez, we've all seen him fight. I think he broke his nose in his last fight with us. Got dropped. That dude's a dog. Ends up locking up a triangle, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy he's fighting was no slouch either. That boy Cristobal is his name on IG, but out of Paul Rodriguez's camp. And I thought Lance was cooked in that fight when he broke his nose, got dropped. Corner comes in between rounds, adjusts the nose. He's good, gets back in there, ends up getting the submission. That guy's a dog. So that's gonna be a good fight.
Yeah, Tyler is coming off a couple of wins, and Lance Lopez coming off a couple of wins. So
Mm-hmm. And we got Seven Perkins versus Matt Corda. Oh man, Seven's had a rough. He's had like 4 different opponents this event. People keep pulling out against him. You know, getting hurt, getting sick. It's that time of the year, and yeah, I believe the Matt Corda fight is locked in right now. It's highlighted red, but I believe it's locked in at this point. Matt Corey has never fought for us. He's supposed to fight for us a couple times. Stuff always happens, doesn't end up working. Seven Perkins fought with us like 7 times.
yeah, a bunch of times. And that's MMA?
That is MMA. Seven is switched over to MMA now. And man, he looked good in his first MMA fight.
Yeah, he did.
Got the knockout at the end of the first, like literally the end of the first round. Like it was like boom, uppercut, beep. Guy slumped. Like the guy was falling while the bell rang and didn't get up. I mean, these last 4 fights, again, all of these could be main events. They're going to be high level fights. I mean, good fights. Forbes versus Pete Garcia, amazing fight. You know, both these guys are consider themselves strikers. Pete has shown that he can grapple. Sean Forbes, I believe, is currently 2-1 in MMA. Or is he 1-1?
Looks like MMA. Yeah, 1-1.
1-1. And I think he switched now full time to to MMA now from kickboxing. He was our kickboxing 155 champ or 170 champ, and now he's made a switch over to MMA and the 155 weight class. So that fight, barn burner. They're going to be throwing down. Hey, don't blink on that fight. They're going to get in there. They're going to get straight to it. Both of those guys, when they get in that cage, they're ready to work. And then an advanced Muay Thai fight, 185 pounds. This is a scary fight to me. These dudes are both scary. And Canyon is another one of those guys that I got a bunch of messages about. He's never fought for us, but I've had a few people message me and just make comments about Canyon Smith. I believe him and Ian Young could potentially be fight of the night. It's one of those crazy fights. Ian Young fought for us in Plant City last, I believe. Put on a masterclass of Muay Thai. I think he's one of those guys that whenever he's able to go pro, he's gonna really hurt people. Like he was in his fight, the last fight he had with us, it was just some real devastating blows, and the guy couldn't hang it. So I know he hits hard. I mean, and then you look at Canyon, this dude. I mean, both these guys are built like, and they're jacked. And 185 pounds, gonna be a crazy fight.
Yeah, I'm gonna show them what we're seeing.
Oh, they can't see that right now.
No, they couldn't. That was just us looking at that. I should have been showing these cards for every single fight.
Why did he just start talking about his body? What's wrong with that guy?
Yeah, it looks like this is Canyon Smith first time fighting with us.
For us, yes.
Yeah, he's got a bunch of fights. Looks like he's 4-2.
Mm-hmm. Out of Orlando City, Muay Thai, a new camp here sometime in the last probably year and a half. Popped up. Trent is the owner and head coach. I believe Mikey Conlon and Jeremy Williams bounce over there and help from time to time, and Jada as well.
And then we are. I have these backwards. Maybe the co-main event and the main event.
Yes. The co-main is Emilio Barco versus Joe Gonzalez. What can I say, man? Both of these guys are undefeated. They're both explosive. Emilio Barco fought for us in St. Pete, June 22nd, and he was slinging the guy around the cage. And the guy's corner really walked him into a hole with that one because they were saying he ain't that strong, and he goes, "I ain't that strong." Psh, belly to backs him, and he just, I mean, it was like coaches. If you're a coach and you're not, nah. If you're a coach that night, don't talk smack. Just don't do that. You know, don't engage in it. All it can do is potentially look bad on you. Regardless of what your fighter does, if you're talking smack and then they get beat or they get slammed or you say something like, it just looks bad. Like coaches should coach, fighters could fight, fighters can talk smack. If you can punch me in the face, I can talk shit to you. But if I can't punch you in the face, don't talk shit to me. Don't do that, coaches. Anyways,
I, I went back and watched Barco's fight today, and watched that unfold exactly as you said. Big throws, big energy, dude's
yeah,
stud.
explosive.
Yeah,
He's made 125 recently. He fought at 125, I think, the middle of December. Um, and he was originally Gonzalez was going to fight his teammate Devin Pegg, who's like 7-2.
yeah. I thought there was an opponent change. I saw.
Yeah, there was an opponent switch on this fight. Emilio stepped up right away. Emilio did not look small when he fought in St. Pete, so I don't expect him to come in looking small in this fight. I'm excited. Joe Gonzalez has a lot of fights. He's been training for. He's like he's like a Machida kid. He's just a little older. You know, he's been training since he was a little kid. So I'm excited for this fight. It's gonna be a good fight. This fight again. This could be the main event. In fact, it would be the main event if not for Joe Gonzalez's teammate and Emilio's teammate also fighting each other for a belt. So the two belts are between Fight Me down in Fort Myers, I believe, and Fusion over in Ocoee, the West Oaks Mall. They are, yeah, their teams are going at it with each other. That Nico Price is over there at Fight Me, UFC fighter Nico Price. So he'll probably be in the building. He got a couple of his students fighting for us. But man, you can expect that co-main and main event to be fireworks. I have, I've had the honor of training a good bit with Joe Gonzalez and Brian Santiago. Just good dudes, you know. Brian also works with us some. He'll come do setups and security and stuff. So I always like it, you know, seeing these guys fight. And you know, people always ask the question is like, oh, you show favoritism to the guys you train with. Right? Go look up Blake Menard. Go look him up and tell me if you think that's a favor. It might be the favor in the sense that I'm giving him the toughest person possible in the state of Florida to fight so that he can get better and improve. And I want that for all the athletes on these cards. I want every athlete, especially the amateur side of things, guys, you should be fighting. I'm not doing you any favors if I give you an easy fight. You know, we made that mistake back whenever we were like first 20, 30 events. But we learned quick that we're not developing athletes that can make it to the UFC if we're just letting you fight the bum down the road that doesn't have a camp, doesn't, you know, isn't a real fighter. So we're not doing any favor, especially amateurs. Like I said, amateurs, you've got to take the fights. You got to take the tough fights. The wrestler, the striker, the jiu-jitsu guy, the black belt that also is 6-0 in boxing. Like you want to fight those guys and amateurs to find out if you got it. And what I mean by if you got it is, can you beat them? Cool, you got it. Can you get beat by them and come back and continue to fight? Cool, you got it. Like there's a lot of different ways. Just because you lose doesn't mean you don't have it. It's what you do after that loss that will define you and determine if you got it. So it's real important to take these tough fights. I've seen so many guys, you know, go 7-0, 6-0 in the amateurs, and then in the pros they're 2-2. Like, what happened? Oh, well, go look at who they fought as an amateur. They thought this shit was going to be easy. I don't want you to think that. If you're fighting for combat night, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be tough. You're going to fight really tough guys. But I promise you that if there's an ability, if there's a chance, if you have the talent and the skill and the sacrifice, all those things to make it to the top, we're going to give you the right fights to make you and challenge yourself so that you can get there. Because you have to have challenges. If everything comes easy, you think, okay, I don't have to train every day. You start, I can skip a session. I can do this. I can do that. And it's like, and then you find out when you become a pro, now I got to start doing all that. Nah, we want you to start doing all of that now so that by the time you can become a pro, you're ready.
And Blake Menard's got like 9 fights.
Yeah.
7-2. I guess this is his debut for us.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, Brian's got 5 fights. He's 5-0.
Yep.
So,
should
be bangarang.
It's going to be a fire fight. I'm telling you, it's going to be crazy. I think Joe Gonzalez and Emilio are both 3-0, right? So, I mean, this main and co-main event, and all these guys, all these 4 in this top,
they're 4-0.
They're both 4-0.
Yeah.
We ain't doing no favors over here. Man, the favor is that I'm there and I'll tell you, don't be no sissy. Take that fight. That's my attitude.
Well, you know, it's like you said, the way things were like 10 years ago or 8 or 9, 10 years ago, it's like the path to becoming a high level professional is so much more clear through us. So yeah, you're gonna have to take some hard fights.
Yeah.
As you ascend through the ranks.
And I see it. I see these other promotions that offer belts to guys that are 1-2, guys that are 2-2. It's like, and then they're fighting a guy who's 4-0 or 5-0 who fought a bunch of guys that were 1-2 and 0-1. And I was like, what are you like? You don't really think you're a champ, do you? If you beat a 1-2 guy. I know I'm trying to be a prick. I am being a prick, but I'm being real. I have guys that'll tell me like, they want to fight on combat, and I'm like, cool. Here's your matchup. It's maybe a 2-1 kid versus a 2-0 kid, and they're like, oh, sorry, man, I'm getting a belt offer over here for this other promotion. I'm gonna fight for them instead. And I'm like, I mean, I don't care. It doesn't bother me at all. I'm like, just curious, like, who you fighting for a belt? I'm fighting this guy. Oh, 2-1 versus 2-2. Yo, do you think that's a real? Do you think that's a real belt? Question mark. I guess if you want something shiny though, but yeah, I mean, these are the type of fights you should be wanting to take. And we got 3-0 guys fighting 3-0 guys. It's not for a belt. We got 4-0 guys fighting 4-1 guys. It's not for a belt. So, whenever you're fighting for a belt, it's because you fought tough fights. Maybe you are only 4-0, but you fought a bunch of tough fights we know if you fought for us, you fought tough fights. No doubt about it.
Right. And to that, maybe you are 2-2.
Yeah.
And you might still fight for a belt because we know who you fought and the caliber of competition that you bring and that you faced. So
Yep.
And some guys will fight anybody.
Yep. And that's honestly, as an amateur, if you're gonna do that, you should be training all the time. You should be improving. You should be like wanting to be the best possible ever and make it. So it should be a lifestyle if you're fighting all the time and you don't care who you fight. But in my opinion, as an amateur, that should be it. Let's run it. Let's just fight. Be active. Because when you go pro, that is one of the biggest things the UFC looks at is how active are you. I talk to all the managers in the game. They all talk about activity. That's it. Activity. How much are you fighting? How often are you fighting? Those are the most important questions. Then it starts asking like how many, what's your record? How many wins? Who are you fighting? But that's like at the bottom. But the very top is like active. Are you fighting actively? Are you ready? Can we call you on 2 weeks' notice and know that you're going to show up on weight and fight?
There's some questions in the comments. Someone asked, who's the best fight to watch on the undercard? So with our amateur shows, there's not really an undercard to speak of. And there's going to be, if we've got 15 fights, there's going to be like 12 or 13 really good fights. So you can't miss.
If there was an undercard fight, I would say probably the top 8 fights would be like a main card. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So like some fights in the beginning of the night, for sure, Amin Swabi and Eddie Diaz is going to be the best fight in the bottom half of the card. I'm not even. There's no debate on that. When you look at that card, and those guys are fighting in the middle of the card. It's again, that's how stacked this card is. That guys like Amin Swabi and Eddie Diaz are fighting each other in the middle of the event with small MMA gloves in Muay Thai. It's crazy. But yeah, like Ramsey said, we don't really do main cards and undercards. We used to. We used to like say this was the main card and this was the undercard. Just extra work.
and for pro shows, the whole amateur card is the
undercard,
and then we have the pro card. Do we ever have pro Muay Thai?
We have had 1 pro Muay Thai fight and 2 pro kickboxing fights. So yes, we maybe had more than 2. We probably had like altogether kickboxing or Muay Thai like 7 or 8 because we also had Keon fought one time.
Oh yeah.
So we've had them all here and there. I would guess within the next year we'll probably have a kickboxing or pro Muay Thai fight on every event. If I had to guess, that's like kind of we've been building up that kickboxing and Muay Thai. But also, man, I've learned that kickboxers and Muay Thai guys won a lot of fights before they go pro. They won a lot of experience, so it's not a bad thing, not necessarily, as long as you don't get burnt out. But yeah, I would imagine in a year or so we'll have a bunch of guys ready to go pro.
Eric Adair said, not sure where it is on the card, but Jules Joseph is the one I'm interested the most in.
Why is that, Eric?
Well, Jules Joseph, he went viral with us.
Yeah, a couple times. His face off. That's a big boy.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yep. Eric, you thinking about maybe a future fight for you? Is he still on there? I don't know. See if he chimes in. It's a fight I wouldn't mind seeing. They're both big boys, boy. Swole.
Yeah, he's super active on there. You want to talk about any of the awards that we've already recognized, like Fighter of the Year and stuff like that, or
Yeah, we'll basically in case somebody missed them real quick. We got Fighter of the Year for the pro side with Shane Mistretta. Um, anyone who knows Shane just knows the type of guy that he is, type of human being that Shane is. On top of that, he won 3 fights this past year in 3 different weight classes. The dude's one of the hardest working guys out there. And he, I think he wants to make a run. We want to talk about active. Dude fought 4 times in a year. He's active. That's the kind of thing. That's the way you got to be if you want to get to the top. You got to fight often.
I'm gonna run his clip real quick.
All right.
Fought all over the place.
2 submissions, 1 sub. 2 submissions. Yeah, he got, the refs tell you, fight until we pull you off. The refs say that. So he's just listening to the refs, and I don't blame him, to be honest with you. I'm excited to see what Shane Mistretta does this year and, see how he does. I'm going live on Instagram real quick. Whatever we talk about next. I should have did that while we were talking about the co-main and the main event, but I was slipping.
We appreciate you, YouTube faithful, though.
Yeah, how many we got on there? Like
12.
12? Hey, we got a little dirty dozen, that's how it be sometimes. It's all right. We're going to have like 112 over here on IG before we know it, talking about the Orlando event this next weekend coming up. First event of 2025, this Saturday. I cannot wait. For everybody jumping in on the live, we're on doing a podcast right now on YouTube. Just wanted to go live as we talk about the end of the year awards and the main events, co-main events tomorrow night in Orlando. And Tallahassee coming up. I kind of want to drop this this big fight we got. I mean, I sent you the poster.
Mm-hmm.
Could you pull it up if I asked you to?
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it anyways. Right. We're gonna drop a big fight happening in Tallahassee. Both gentlemen have agreed. I will say they have not signed the contract. Contracts have not been signed yet, but both gentlemen have agreed to fight one another. The Jungle. Speaking of the Jungle, them and Fusion both have like 8 fighters on this card. You want to talk about insane? And somehow, I don't think the Jungle and Fusion are fighting each other at all. So we have 16 fights, and each team has 8. So that means that pretty much every fight is either Jungle or Fusion on the who is Dresser B? How did you learn to get your talking voice? Hold on. Was it from taking a lot of meat? Yo, I don't even know what to think about that comment, but I'm gonna pin it. How do I pin it? I just gotta think that was a typo. Yo, Dylan, we just talked about Shane Mistretta getting the Pro Fighter of the Year award. We just played the video. If you're on YouTube right now, you can see that fight I'm talking about. Should I turn this live video and show you guys the fight I'm talking about?
No, they need to go get on YouTube.
It's a pretty crazy fight, but this is Sparta.
You ready?
Yeah, throw it up there. Contracts aren't signed yet, but it's both agreed verbally.
Oh my goodness.
Yo, that's gonna be a whole lot of man in that cage in Tallahassee.
Apple pie, a crowd favorite in Tallahassee, and the established veteran professional champion.
Yes.
Alex the Spartan
Nicholson.
Heading up to Tally to do work. So we are excited about that one. What a main event for Tallahassee.
Oh, yeah. That's a crazy main event. Tallahassee, we got bangers. Like, that whole card is stupid.
Yes.
I'm not even going to lie to you guys. There's like half a dozen guys on the Tallahassee card that are going to be in the UFC in the next year. no doubt in my mind. There's about a half a dozen guys on the main card. You got JP St. Louis, 11-5, fighting Nardo Silva, I believe, who's like 27-5. You've got Andrew Marcado, who's 7 or 6-1, fighting Keith Speed, who's undefeated inside of the Combatagon. You've got Alex. This fight right here, I'm not going to say it out loud on this feed.
Oh, I wonder if they could hear me.
They might have been able to hear you, but I'm telling you, and Tallahassee is my favorite venue. If you've never been to a Tallahassee combat night, you're missing out. It is literally the best venue event. They have like 350 LED blue and red lights. So every time a blue corner walks, the whole venue turns blue. Every time the red corner walks, the whole venue turns red. It is just the whole place is like a spectacle on fight night. It's very, very cool.
Yeah, the Moon helps us put on a really good show up there.
I also fought there as a professional like
That's
2 or 3 times.
the OG spot right there.
Yep.
Where it all started.
Yes, sir. Made my pro debut at the Moon in Tallahassee. That's why, like, that'll probably forever be my favorite venue. Being able to be back where it all started for me and watching these guys pave their own way to get in the UFC. You know, guys like Ramon Tavares fought in that venue. Guys like Steven Koslow, Trey Waters, Austin. Did Austin Lane fight up there? Austin Lane fought in Tallahassee. I'm missing one. Steven Koslow, Ramon Tavares, Trey Waters, Austin Lane, Val Woodburn. You know, Tallahassee, y'all get the most UFC fighters out of everybody. We bring the best. We always do. We bet to get the best fighters in the whole state of Florida, and we go, let's go to Tallahassee. So those are always our shows that we show out and have the biggest fights happening on that event. Let me see. Emilio Molo and Taylor to fight the Me Combat Sports.
Gabriel Garza said, can't wait to see how Javier does at middleweight.
Yes. Ulysses Moore.
Man, that's going to be such a good fight.
That's a good fight. All these fights are so good. I don't know what just happened to that. I don't know how that happened. I just did some effect on my thing.
Rod Ajarma said, why is Mitch being lazy? Let him do the full card. Maybe you jumped on late, Rod.
Yeah, Rod did jump on late. He definitely jumped on late if he's talking smack like that. I cannot wait to spar that kid. I can't. He had a boo-boo last time I was in Fort Lauderdale. I got a boo-boo. I can't train. Sorry. Come on, man.
I know. Yeah, he caught one of our YouTube thumbnail snafus. My bad.
Nah, YouTube flagged the video because he was too ugly. We're sticking with that. That's our story, and we're sticking to it. Come on, man. Get on here, try to roast. We're the wrong one.
Demonetized.
All right, I'm gonna log off of the Instagram live real quick, guys. Beep. No. Discord video. Discord. All right, it wasn't a bad amount. I had like 33 a few times.
They're like, what's Mitchell doing?
Oh man. Well, you got anything else?
I mean, no, we're ready to get back in the swing of things. We got weigh-ins tomorrow, so we just wanted to pop on and chat a little bit about the card coming up. We'll do a post event wrap up on Sunday. We'll come jump in here and
I may not be here.
Oh,
I fly to Saudi Arabia.
That's right.
Arabian.
Yeah, you'll fit right in. You got some travels in your future.
I got my burqa. Is that what it's called? What's it called? The
Durka.
You're gonna get me kicked out before I even get there. Yeah, I got my outfit ready for Saudi. Going out there with all the homies. Yo, I'm talking about. I get excited about traveling, right? And I made a goal this year. I told Ramsey we're gonna do travel some this year, but I told Ramsey that I want to try to travel like once a month. You know, I want to try to travel a lot this year, like out of the country, places that I've been wanting to go, like Utah and I got a whole list: Iceland, Japan, Saudi Arabia. But when I get to travel and do martial arts, it's like a field day for me. I'm not there to make weight or anything else, so I get to eat all the amazing food. I get to be around martial arts the entire time. I'm going over there where Mike Davis is fighting, Beast Boy Mike Davis. I think he's on a 5-fight win streak, or he's about to be on a 5-fight win streak. Complete Savage. Terrence McKinney, Complete Savage. And Combat Night OG, Lucas Alexander. Everybody knows that man's a Complete Savage. They're all three fighting on the card. And then there's some other Combat Night cats going to be out there as well. Mikey's going to be out there, Mikey Conlon. yeah, I'm just Julian's gonna be there. I'm just excited. It's kind of like it's like a week of hanging out with the boys, doing martial arts, and watching them chase their dreams. Like I don't know how to explain it, but for me, being a part of someone's like fight week is just special. Like getting to see someone's like that's the grind, that's the real grind, that's the hard grind. Is that fight week and being there and helping them and just playing that little role and helping them get achieve their dream. It's like sign me up every time.
No, that should be fun, man. That should be a heck of a trip. MMA extravaganza in Saudi Arabia.
Yep.
That'll be dope. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for all your input. Someone asked when we see you again in the cage. I think you're putting the gloves back on.
Bro, you'll see me in the cage this Saturday, shaking fighters' hands and saying thank you for fighting for us and getting a nice picture with all the winners.
Unless he tries to pull Dan Donaldson and fight on his own card.
Man, I honestly, Dan Donaldson probably kept me from ever wanting to do it. I was like, nah, I don't want to do that. I could tell how stressed he was, like running the business and everything else. Like, I'm probably never do that. And I was stressed out for him. I don't want to put the stress that he put on me, on him and the rest of my friends. Like, I was genuinely like scared for this man's life. And not that I didn't think he couldn't fight or whatever, but like a fight's a fight. It is what it is. And just thinking about like what happens if he gets knocked out? What happens if he gets choked out? And like those thoughts still go through my head. So when I think about fighting, not that I wouldn't, who knows? I probably won't, but I do want to. Part of my idea for my bachelor party, if we ever plan this wedding, I'm gonna have guys, you heard it right here. By the end of 2026, I'm having my bachelor party. Whether or not the wedding gets planned and we're getting married, I'm just gonna have a bachelor party, and then we can go to the courthouse. That's it. So my bachelor party idea is actually I want to go to Muay Thai, Thailand. I've never been in Thailand. I want to like hit all the different like touristy spots, but also
not all the touristy spots.
Well, not those kind of touristy spots. No, lady boys, not happening. But all the spots that are family friendly. I'm going to also. I want everyone that comes on my bachelor party, like, you gotta sign a contract. You're fighting. If you're coming out with me on my bachelor party, you fighting. It can be in a bar. It can be against a taxi driver. Because I got boys that like, ain't never fought before. Like Ramsey, you might probably be coming to Thailand with me. You're fighting. Straight up, bruh. Straight up. If you don't fight, then you don't come. So the idea is, I'll tell you the idea after the podcast. I don't want to ruin it because it's a really cool idea. Really cool idea.
That's crazy. Old. I'm too old for that.
I guess you're too old for bachelor parties then.
Bachelor parties without weddings.
No, we're going to come back and get married. Because if she hasn't planned the wedding by 2026,
you're going to plan it. It's good.
We just going to go to the courthouse. And I'm going to use all the money we saved on my bachelor party. Oh, Brandy's going to love that.
She'll never see this.
No. She starts commenting.
All right, guys. This Saturday at the Beecham, downtown Orlando. Doors open at 4
p.m.
4 p.m.
First fight, 4:05.
4:05. Don't be late.
Running. So you better be running too. Oh, shout out to some vendors we got real quick. I know there's only like 12 people on the live stream, and probably 2 of them are coming. But in case you're interested, we have fat protein cookies. We have a Momsing cookies and treats. So healthy protein cookie, sugar fun cookie. We have the Combat Night merch booth. You want your sweaters. It's cold outside. You want your beanies. You see my boy Ramalam over there rocking that beanie.
We didn't get any snow, but
I so messed up. I was like, we might as well have gotten snow.
How did Tampa get snow?
It got so cold that my toes were freezing off. You might as well just give me snow. And what's another 5 degrees?
Florida snow. Florida yes. Cold, not like cold.
Yeah, and then the rain. It was miserable. I'd rather been miserable in snow than rain. And then we also have Godfather beef jerky.
Oh, he's in the mix?
Ooh, that's some good beef jerky. You heard it here first. If you want the best beef jerky you ever had. And for me, the style is great. It's very thin, crispy. It's like chips. Melts in your mouth.
We met him in Jacksonville, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, setting up a booth. Don't
I,
worry, I got some for the crew.
I remember you hooked him up because he was like hanging out,
Being quiet.
being all quiet. You were like,
Like,
"What you
no.
got, man?" He was like, "Yo, they got jerky over here." He sold out in like a second.
He said, I'll give you a free bag. I was like, all right, I got you. What can I say? I'm cheap. Bag of jerky, I'm in.
All right, guys. And if you can't make it to the Beecham, check out our pay-per-view.
Oh, the other side MMA with Kat Nelson will be there as well. My apologies.
Is she bringing dog treats?
I think she might bring some dog treats too, with her Black Lab Organics, but she's also setting up for the other side MMA. Rash guards and hand wraps.
Cool. All right, guys. We'll see you or talk to you on Saturday, pay-per-view or in the house. Looking forward to it. Should be packed. First event of the year. People are pumped, ready to get back to it, and so are we.
Yes, sir.
All right, later.